Hello and welcome, I'm Olivia, and today I'm talking about CGI. Recently, CGI has been overused, lacking in visuals and the excitement it once created in films. With advancements in technology, CGI has become more prominent in movies and less of a marvel. When was the last time you saw a movie without a touch of CGI? In modern filmmaking, filmmakers mainly rely on green screens or LED backgrounds to set a scene and perform special effects. CGI used to enhance a movie, but now productions rely on it for almost everything. CGI has lost its luster because it no longer is the star of the movie production and has become visually fatiguing. With a plethora of underdeveloped CGI creations, studios have been pushing for faster turnarounds and fewer artists employed. CGI was first developed in the 1950s for military and scientific use. The first movie that incorporated this technology was Alfred Hitchcock's 1958 thriller Vertigo. This gave filmmakers a short example of how CGI could be used in filmmaking. 3D Lines, a company focused on expanding CGI standardization, says that CGI broke into the mainstream in 1973 with the film Westworld. When CGI was a newer technology, it was the main feature in films that drew audiences to theaters. It was harder to produce, so filmmakers had to make all the shots with CGI in use worthwhile, or it would be a big waste of money. In modern technology, film companies have let go of many of their CGI artists, requesting faster turnarounds and put less money into visual effects. Many classic films from the 1990s and early 2000s with incredible visual effects used industrial light and magic. The motion picture, visual elements, and computer animation software company created by George Lucas. To name a few films appraised for their realistic CGI effects, there's The Indian in the Cupboard, Titanic, and the Harry Potter movies 1 through 6. At the time, CGI cost millions of dollars to produce. Every shot with CGI implementation was filmed with tedious care and time so that it did not cost production companies more than needed to create the final image. Now the price range of CGI can range from a few $1,000s to free. In a journal by Greg Tuck, When More is Less, CGI Spectacle and the Capitalistic Sublime, he shares, "At best, cinematic special effects offers experiences in which we do and do not believe our eyes simultaneously." Tuck argues that the magic of CGI lies in creating an awe-inspiring experience for audiences. The problem is, these films are not concerned with being sublime, but with being profitable. The constant reliance on CGI is creating viewer burnout and has given the impression that overall quality has slipped. So let's talk about how movie production studios prioritize profitability over the magic of a good story and movie visuals. Movie director Sean Chandler notes that CGI may look worse these days due to overworked and underpaid visual effects teams, rushed work, budget constraints, and tight deadlines that force studios to prioritize speed over quality. In other words, studios are pushing out movies that feel empty. CGI isn't that hard to make anymore, so its use in films has been less of a priority and more of a quantity issue. Linda Kodega writes for the news tech blog Gizmodo that someone hears you work on films, so they ask you, "What movie made you cry?" And the artist will respond, "In theaters or in the office." Kodega's article, titled "Abuse of Visual Effects Artists is Ruining the Movies," is a great read to complement this subject. She shares the whole process on how visual effect artists work in the industry. So this is how visual effect companies get the films they make. Visual effect companies are sent a brief description of shots they need to be created, and they will estimate their rate for a bid. However, it is often a race between studios to bid the lowest. And though they may get the work, visual effects studios may not be able to break even with the production costs compared to what they are getting paid to make. Marvel is a company full of visual fatigue, which in this article is described as one of the worst studios to work with due to their inconsistency and undercommunication. However, given how much media Marvel produces, it's unlikely that visual effect companies will stop working with them because they get paid from them. In the book It's a Fake by author Dr. Lisa Bode, she writes, "Computer-generated imagery is like synthetic food additive that fools you at first but is ultimately a hollow aesthetic experience. But fear not, there are movies that have gained significant traction because of their use of real sets. Barbie was one of the highest grossing films of 2023, with a worldwide gross of $1.44 billion. Barbie Land is a set with hand-painted backdrops filled with vivid colors. The set was designed by production designer Sarah Greenwood and set decorator Katie Spencer. Greenwood shared with Today that the sets were created with how children play with their dolls in mind.
Everything that is in front of camera has to be real so that you as a viewer will watch it and go, that's there, that's built. That is this kind of authentic artificiality.
Though Barbie's world is full of stuff, it's all in accordance to how the toys are. Stickers are used as wall decorations, items are made of plastic that don't work in the real world. Another movie, or should I say movies, that have audiences raving about the set design is Wicked.
You're beautiful.
Production designer Nathan Crowley says, "When I sit in the production meeting and say, I think we should plant 9 million tulips, everyone looks at me like I'm insane. We do everything for real. But that is just part of the work that went into building the world of Oz." Sets for Wicked took over 20 weeks to build, and some were as tall as 35 to 50 feet. Crowley thought through how everything in Oz world works. For instance, he settled on boats as a way of navigation to not take over the wizard's air domain and not enslave animals. He says, "Wizard of Oz is an American fairy tale, so you need America in it. A big train in an endless Midwestern barley field is a very American image. So then I was in the business of growing barley as well." The reason why the worlds of these movies came to life and were box office successes was because of the care put into the design by the directors and the production designers. What brings light into movies' successful visual elements is care and time. This image becomes clouded with a price tag and a budget for many studios. This dominoes into underpaid artists rushing to produce a visually acceptable shot. With more high-grossing films using real sets, perhaps we'll see a change in CGI use, or at least more visual excitement. Until then, we might be stuck with produced movies that lead audiences to wonder what happened to the magic of CGI. And that's all I have today. Feel free to look at the description for my cited works and to read up more on this topic. Thank you for watching.